Let's bring in our panel now, our CNN political commentator and Democratic strategist Donna Brazile, Republican strategist Doug Heye, and national political correspondent for the New York Times and contributor for CNN's Inside Politics, Jonathan Martin. Thank you all for coming in on Labor Day.
Happy Labor Day.
I would say that we would have a barbecue in the green room, but I don't want to set off any fire codes. All right, let's start with the landscape and what we're going to be looking at with the real prize, which is the Senate, right? The Republicans need to pick up 6 seats, all told, in order to actually take control of the Senate. So what we're talking about, first of all, is we can show some pictures. West Virginia, Montana, and South Dakota. Those are 3 states that are pretty much, I think everybody agrees, gone. There were Democratic senators. They've retired. Republicans are likely to take those. So that brings us down to 3 seats. Just 3 seats Republicans are going to need. And they have a huge number of competitive Democratic Senate seats that they have the ability to take. Iowa, Arkansas, Alaska, North Carolina, Louisiana, Colorado, Michigan, and New Hampshire. It's a lot. Now, on the Democratic side, there are really only 2 Republican seats that they're truly competitive to try to get, Kentucky and Georgia, and even that's going to be an upset if they get those. So given all of that, Donna, I'm going to put you in the hot seat here. I mean, give me a little Louisiana candor.
Well, let me just say this. 4 years ago, I was a lot more nervous then than I am now. And here's why.
That's Louisiana candor?
Well, well, you know, we're not out there. We're not throwing in the towel, and nor are we going to, you know, cook the leftovers until the election day. On the generic ballot, we're competitive. If not, we are in a better position than Republicans. 2, we understand that we have more seats in play this time than ever before, and that some of these seats are so-called ruby red. I think the Democratic Party has really done a great job in identifying those voters that turn out in presidential years, but often do not turn out midterm elections. If we're able to mobilize these voters, I think we have a shot to not just retain the Senate, but to also pick up seats. Look, the fact that Kentucky is still in play for the Democrats, Georgia's in play. I was in Georgia 2 weeks ago. I was in Colorado last week. I've been home more times than I can count. I believe that we're going to do a great job. And here's one thing, Dana, that people are not thinking. The Republicans spent well over, and Doug noticed, they spent well over $130 million to defeat these so-called Tea Party candidates. Well, you know what? We learned a lot about how to defeat the Republicans who eventually became victorious.
Well, Doug, I don't want to bring up a sore subject, but you also just until recently worked for a Republican who, the leader, Eric Cantor, who was beaten by a Tea Party candidate.
How about that? Yeah.
But you remember that. But what I want to ask you about is, does Donna have a point in that your party has seen the prize for 2 straight elections, and you have, you know, that prize has escaped you for various reasons.
Yeah,
so is there a problem for Republicans in being overconfident that you could take the Senate?
I don't think so yet. And I think one of the advantages that we have this time is that we don't have, you know, frankly, some of the clown college candidates that we had in the last 2 cycles. We left, I mean, to be blunt about it, we left points on the board in Delaware, in Nevada, in Indiana, seats that we should have won, seats that should have been no-brainers for us. We lost because we had terrible candidates who couldn't muster any kind of a real campaign. We don't have that in the Senate races this time, and that's something that we've got that's really going to be an advantage for us moving forward.
Jonathan, how do you see it?
Oh, I think the math this time around works for the Republicans. The map favors them, as you laid out, Dana, on that screen. What gives Democrats some heart, though, is the fact that here we are on Labor Day, and unlike 2010, there's no race of the ones that you showed on the screen that really seems out of hand for an incumbent Democratic senator. Yes, Montana, South Dakota, West Virginia are probably gone for Democrats, but in terms of the incumbent Democrats, they're all still in this game right now. All of them are still alive. This really feels like a fluid election. I talked to a lot of strategists last week on both sides of the aisle. They all said the same thing. This does not feel like 2010 or,
no wave.
or 2006. You don't feel that kind of wave. It's more of a trench warfare kind of year. Both sides, a lot of money, a lot of tough attacks. Probably is going to come down to if Democrats can get their non-midterm voters out. That's really the issue.
And okay, so let's talk about that. President Obama is not on the ballot, but President Obama, of course, is unofficially on the ballot. We all know that. He is in Milwaukee today, spending time with union leaders. But he's essentially flying solo. Here's the irony of all ironies. He was met by the Republican governor, Scott Walker, but the Democratic candidate for governor in that state, she was nowhere to be found, which is, I think Scott Walker did that on purpose to show that. But how much of a liability still is the president?
I wouldn't. Let me just say this.
Yeah.
And I think I'm in a good position because I've run a campaign. When you had a sitting president of the United States, you use them strategically. This was an official campaign. This was not a rally trip. This was an official trip to Wisconsin. And I'm sure that the president will talk to Ms. Burke, and I'm sure that the Democrats will help her win. He's not going to be on the ballot this fall. These Democrats have to establish their own record with voters because voters need to know what they stand for. They know President Obama. They've made a position. You know what? President Obama would see the bottom if the congressional Republicans were not standing in the way because they are more unpopular than anybody right now.
But, Doug, I was just in Kentucky, and President Obama very much is very much part of the discussion down there. Mitch McConnell, the Republican senator and candidate, is making him part of the discussion. But for voters, he's part of the discussion. People are very invested in what happens, pro or con, in what happens in his last 2 years.
Keep in mind, in 2012, Barack Obama in Kentucky won 38% of the vote, 37% of the vote in Arkansas with 2 key Senate races. In Kentucky, Allison Leonard Grimes, the Democratic candidate, is distancing herself so far that she's saying, oh, I haven't even talked to Barack Obama, which is frankly more than she said about Obamacare. She won't answer questions about whether or not she'd vote for it, which is really telling in that race.
But Mitch McConnell is not popular. He still has to fight
But
like
Grimes
hell.
is going up there, too, in the unpopularity. What's your take? Real quick.
Look, President Obama is a serious handicap for Democrats and a lot of this country. However, the irony is Democrats absolutely have to have his voters, otherwise they can't win. The challenge for Democrats is how do they get the Obama voters out while trying to appeal to swing voters who are soured on Obama. That's the crux of their challenge.
The Republicans will help us with that because this notion of suing the president or what I call impeachment-like, that will motivate Democrats to get out and vote.
Donna Brazile, Doug Heye, Jonathan Martin, thank you.